welcome to the Land Cave where we're living as nerds. I'm Patrick, joined by Owen. Yeah, you almost sounded like a Murloc there for a second.
I was going for a turkey.
Turkey works, yeah, because it's almost Turkey Day.
Like it's hard.
That was pretty good. That
Yeah.
was pretty good. Neither of us are hunters or anyone that would would be practiced in doing a turkey call, but we do like us some turkey. You're not eating turkey this year, though, are you?
No, I mean, so I don't know if you know this. There's actually a nationwide shortage on small turkeys, and
yeah.
I couldn't find a bird under like 17 pounds, and we are doing the at-home thing as you do in 2020. So there is two of us, and so we bought Cornish game hens. We have three Cornish game hens. I've heard that you cook them the exact same way as turkey, so we got them brining right now.
Very nice.
We're gonna do traditional. We're gonna do a roast. I prefer fried turkey myself, but I do not have a frying mechanism with which to do what you would do to a turkey, where you take like that giant vat of at least peanut oil in my family. I don't know what oil.
Submerge it. I think peanut's kind of the agreed upon.
The standard.
Yeah. It's the best because you don't want to use the wrong oil because of smoke temperature. What is it called? Smoke temperature, or whatever.
Sure.
As well as I heard that other oils they may work, but when you submerge them, they splatter more.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's cool.
So we're roasting it, and then I made an egg-free cheesecake. We're gonna hope that it sets. That's the only thing, is since it's egg-free, it's setting. So, but I did taste it, a lot of it, because I made too much. I didn't downsize the recipe to fit the pie shell that I bought, and so there was I probably could have made little mini pies if I had the capability, but it was some New York cheesecake. So I'm hoping that it looks as good as it tastes tomorrow when I cut a piece and show off my awesome skills.
It's got to be stiff. That's the thing for cheesecake. For me. Cheesecake
with no red crap on it.
Yeah. And we were actually just while you posted that, we were watching that episode. I kid you not. We were watching that episode, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, it's a Friends reference for those of you who don't know. Season 10. But yeah, it's good stuff.
Excuse me, sir. There appears to be some red crap on each. No, if you're a true cheesecake connoisseur, you don't need anything on top of your cheesecake. The cheesecake stands alone, Patrick. It stands alone.
I will say, as long as that graham cracker crust maybe has a little bit of cinnamon, I do like a little bit of that. But
or some nutmeg.
Nutmeg, yeah, cinnamon and nutmeg hand in hand on that. I'm fine with that. But yeah, I agree. It doesn't need cherry compote, what have you. I love cherry pie. I love that, but it doesn't. It's not needed here.
If I want a fruit pie, I'll eat a fruit pie. I'll eat some apple. Apple pie is also a Thanksgiving dish. That's going to be on its own separate plate. The cheesecake stands alone.
That's the episode name right there. The cheesecake stands alone. I similarly am doing it. It's just the two of us.
Yeah.
We have two adults, dogs, which will probably get some treats. But same thing, except I did get a turkey, a pre-seasoned turkey breast thing. So it's frozen, but you just throw it in. But I'm making garlic mashed potatoes. I'm making stuffing, and I got some little tiny miniature pies because I was like, that way I can have a little bit of apple pie, little cute little pies. And I was like, that gives me a little taste. It's responsible because if I make a cheesecake, I'm going to eat. I may not eat it that day, but within 48 hours, that cheesecake will be gone.
Oh, it's breakfast. That's so normally I eat yogurt for breakfast. We're going to be replacing yogurt with cheesecake.
It's close.
It's cream. Just just mix it up with my granola. Except the cheesecake stands alone. Let me ask: do you a la mode your pies?
I do like to a la mode the pies. It has to be decent quality ice cream.
Okay.
Because I'm a little bit of a snob when it comes to ice cream.
Sure.
But a good apple pie, a good pumpkin pie, doesn't need it. But I will say there's something magical about the Cool Whip and pumpkin pie combination.
Okay.
There's something about that, but
Classic.
I say, yeah, it's classic. But at the same time, I don't have to.
Takes
But
you back to
I
your
don't.
youth.
It does. Like equal parts pumpkin pie and Cool Whip. I mean,
Equal.
it's just mounds of Cool Whip. But I don't have to. I don't mind it, but I do like good, like a really good homemade vanilla ice cream with the pumpkin pie is really good stuff. What about is it a has to be a la mode for you, or how do you feel about it?
If I'm see that here's a weird like thing about me that you probably like. I don't like fruit desserts.
Okay.
Like it's not like I refuse to eat them, and so I'll eat a good piece of apple pie. Like it's fine,
Mhm.
but it's something about like don't make my desserts healthy. Does that make sense? Like
Sure.
I don't need it. I don't need your like, and I know that there's nothing healthy about
No.
peach, blueberry, apple. There's nothing healthy about it whatsoever, but there's like, get your vitamin C out of here. Okay.
Well, here's my question. You asked about the a la mode, and I'm not going to give you my answer. How do you feel about people putting a slice of cheese on top of apple pie?
I've always been curious.
Mhm,
I've
mhm.
never done it, and
Yep.
because they put American cheese, don't they?
Put American
And
cheese
so
on
I
it.
since I passed the age of 15, not really. I ate American cheese in college because it's cheap, but
Yeah,
there you hit a point where you start being able to afford good cheese
yeah.
and you stop eating American cheese.
It's like cheddar, Sargento, like it's some
Like
decent.
cheddar's the baseline,
Yes.
like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I agree. I'm just saying, like, if I'm getting a plain sandwich where it's like, okay, it's just a turkey sandwich, whatever.
So tell me, have you tried it?
I have not.
Okay.
I have not. I intend to at some point,
Okay.
but every time that I'm in a position to do so, I feel like I need to do it on my own
Do
terms.
you melt
And by
it?
I don't think I think that the idea is the pie is hot enough already that
Gotcha.
they slap it on and it kind of melts on its own. Now, I think I need to do if I do it on my own terms, and by that I mean not that I'm like isolating myself like in this office and not telling anybody I'm doing it, but like I don't want to sacrifice a good piece of apple pie and then ruin my dessert. Right? You order apple pie, they're like, "Do you want a piece of cheese?" And I'm like, "Ah, why not? I'm being adventurous today." They put the cheese on it, and then I'm like, "Crap, I don't like this." My entire experience is ruined. So
According to this,
maybe
it's a New England tradition of serving
okay.
apple pie with cheddar cheese. Okay,
Oh,
so I'm a
okay.
little bit more on board. Because cheddar again, baseline cheese
Mhm.
is cheddar. I guess you would go like, would you go mild in that case? Normally, I'm an extra sharp kind of guy.
I love extra sharp. Yeah. I don't know. So and this is why I feel like it needs to be an Alton Brown style like showdown where I take multiple pies and multiple cheeses
Hmm.
and I try them in combination to figure out what the correct combination is. So that way I don't because I feel like it may be good, it may be terrible, but I feel like there's a combination there that works well. And I feel like if I try it once and and I don't like it, it may be because I'm going with an amateur combination. Like we were talking about American cheese.
Yeah.
Like I don't want any of that vegetable oil byproduct crap. Like, and there is a difference between real American cheese and the Velveeta crap. Which, but at the same time, Velveeta shells and
Hey,
cheese.
I was about to say,
Velveeta shells and cheese.
don't go knocking Velveeta. It has
I'm
its
making
like
I'm making Velveeta shells and cheese tomorrow.
you're from Texas, right? You've had some Rotel dip in your
Yeah.
day.
Oh yeah. But to me it's like it's almost its own thing. But like if I'm doing a sandwich, I'm gonna have real cheese. And I also like to take some shredded sharp cheddar and put it in a little bit of that into my Velveeta mac and cheese, just a little bit.
So here's a reason why I would try it. So like there, anybody who's listening, notice like I haven't knocked the cheese with the apple pie. It's just a
Yeah.
thing. I grew up eating peanut butter and cheese sandwiches.
Okay. Yeah, that's different. And by the way, we don't normally do this, but this is a special Thanksgiving episode. So
We're vamping, baby.
So peanut butter. Okay, that's interesting. I've never heard that combination, but I will give you a weird combination that I grew up eating, which was
Okay.
peanut butter and honey, or peanut butter and maple syrup sandwiches. which it's
I
like a
eat peanut
dessert.
butter and honey now.
Okay, yeah. So that
Yeah.
like that to me, it's like okay, that's kind of like dessert-ish. But peanut butter and cheese, I feel like those are two things that it's like it's again to the friends thing, the trifle, right? Where it's like these things are good, but I don't know how to feel about them together. Um,
So
like people put
if you,
strawberries on pizza. What is that? Strawberries on pizza?
I mean, if we can eat pineapple on pizza, we can eat strawberries on
Uh,
pizza.
I don't know. I don't
It's
think you should violate that law.
pineapple, pepperoni, and jalapenos, my friend.
Okay, okay.
Put the heat in there. It's the heat with
That
the
may
sweetness with the savory meat.
so that may be the combination because I've tried it and I don't like it. Whitney loves, her Hawaiian pizza.
I
She
don't
doesn't
like
have the
ham on
pine.
pizza.
Yeah, she likes ham. But I've not tried pepperoni, jalapeno, pineapple. I
Do
like
it.
jalapenos. She couldn't do the jalapenos, but maybe
Just do like a half. So do
half.
like a half Hawaiian, half
Mhm.
in that
Yeah,
way it crosses over. But
yeah.
sometime when you're feeling it, get you some white cheddar cheese,
Mm.
get you a little peanut butter, make a grilled cheese with it.
Ooh, that's
And you'll have this like sweet melty thing going on. It's
well. So similarly, because it just reminded me that you tried grilling it. You know about the Elvis grilled peanut butter and banana
of
sandwiches.
course.
Yeah, so classic again in its own way. But yeah, Elvis ate those. So I don't know. I'll give it a shot. Um,
My son regularly eats peanut butter jelly and banana.
I see. I like that. See, it's fruit and peanuts, like fruit and peanut butter, like kind
Yeah.
of work. But the cheese, I'll try it with. You mentioned white cheddar.
Yeah.
Do you do like a sharp white cheddar or
For
just
sure.
a? Okay, okay. I'll try that out because I love sharp. I love sharp.
And if you're feeling saucy,
Mm.
throw in a little bacon. Make you a
Ooh.
bacon grilled cheese with a
Okay.
little bit of peanut butter.
Again, so the cheese is throwing me off because like I'm thinking of the combinations in my head, and I'm like bacon, good, peanut butter and bacon works. You got the salty, you
Yeah.
got the sweet, you got all that, and you put cheese in there, and I'm like, but cheese does have that saltiness, especially sharp cheese has that saltiness. So I'll
I'm just picturing you're gonna send me the GIF of Joey, and it's gonna be like, I like it.
basically,
Got yours too.
I'll send it. I'll send it. Normally we talk about video games on this show, but it is leading up to the holiday season is like upon us, and I say that because people have been saying it for like a month. This is really when it starts.
After tomorrow, you're allowed to decorate for Christmas.
After tomorrow, I have violated that rule. Normally I do not violate that rule, but 2020 I did violate that rule. I did break that rule. But this is the start of the holiday season. The lead up, I allow for the people to call maybe the 2 weeks leading up to. So the week of Thanksgiving, the week prior to Thanksgiving, considered part of the holiday season.
Sure.
But when people start taking over Halloween with Christmas decorations, because like Michael's and Target and other places were like taking down Halloween decorations on like the 27th.
Yeah, they do that.
They're taking down costumes on the 27th to put up Christmas stuff, and I'm like, what about your last minute shoppers? Come on. So,
and they skip over Thanksgiving completely because
they do.
I swear, like every year, I'm the one that's scoping out like Thanksgiving decorations on sale every year because they're on the shelves for like a week.
Yeah, yeah, and craft stores obviously have them a little bit longer, but yeah, you're exactly right when it comes to the others. That yeah, it's a shame.
But in this case, though, Christmas came on November 10th when I got a new console, and then it came again on November 12th when I got a second new console.
it has been.
I honestly don't know where to go from here.
I'm loving it. I've been playing some Demon Souls.
Yeah.
Side note: I'm not going to. I overloaded my GPU today, doing some captures. Have the PS5 in here because I was doing some captures into my PC to try to get higher fidelity. However, the PS5 can stream at 1080 60, but my graphics card can't encode. I thought it can encode 4K, but apparently 1440 was causing issues. So I know I'm doing more things than the average person, but I'm loving next gen. I picked up my PS4 and played some PS4 earlier this week, and I'm immediately like, this is slow. Like I need instant gratification because I've been spoiled by the PS5 and the Xbox Series X, where just loading up a game is taking too long. If I die in a game, it's taking too long. So yeah, man, I'm excited. I'm happy, but now I'm in the situation where I'm like I'm waiting for the real next gen games to come in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm enjoying Demon Souls. That's next gen and everything. I'm close to beating Miles, by the way.
Cool.
I'm really loving
Love
Miles.
it.
Yeah, it's really good.
I almost think
And
it's better, even though it's shorter. I almost think it's better.
I think it's from a storytelling standpoint. I think so far I would agree. It feels like it's more it's more concise when it comes to the storytelling.
I think that's why I like it.
Yeah. I mean,
Because I'm an old man and I don't need a 30-hour game anymore.
Well, I think it's because we're playing it and we're like, I love the PS4 Spider-Man game. I'm going to play the remaster because I didn't beat the PS4 one, but in doing so, I know that the PS4 one they were like they were trying to bring in all these villains, and Spider-Man has some great villains, but it seemed like they were just trying to bring in as many as they could, almost like they didn't feel like they'd get another shot. And they will. They're totally going to do a Spider-Man 2. They have to. But I've been playing Demon Souls and all that, and I played some Bug Snacks, which you also
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on Bug Snacks?
It's super cute.
Yeah.
It's really cute. Sorry, I was distracted there. I as a part of my next gen thing, I'm in that mode of trying to get everybody new consoles, and so Walmart just popped some PS5s in 2 minutes. So I was busting some links with somebody, so I got distracted.
Okay.
It's very Pokemon Snappy in the way that it has you scan these snacks, but you can then also capture them. So I did do this gameplay. By the way, if you're listening and you haven't, as much as we would like to stream to Facebook all the time, it's infinitely easier to stream these consoles to different platforms. So if you want to ever just check out like raw gameplay, we do that over at youtube.com/TheLanCave, and occasionally we do Twitch as well. We need to unify that Twitch channel at some point. So for right now, youtube.com/TheLanCave is where all the exports are going to go. And again, just raw gameplay. There's no commentary or anything. It's just like, hey, I heard Owen and Patrick talking about Demon Souls. I heard them talking about Pathless. I heard them talking about Bug Snacks, whatever. You can go just check out how the game looks you don't get any annoying people talking to you. I think it's just a thing that I appreciate. Like, I don't think that happens very often, where you can't just go watch the game with, and just enjoy it.
No commentary.
There's definitely a dark story going on. Oh, sorry. Yeah, talk about your Demon Souls thing.
I'd say, well, we are doing some stuff on Facebook like that will have commentary. I was just gonna say that, like, so it'll say "Let's Play," and that'll have commentary. But if it says gameplay, it's gameplay. So sorry, dark stuff, yes. Which I was really happy to see that, because I thought it was just going to be sugary sweet, no pun intended.
Correct.
But it turned it out to be. Very quickly, I realized, oh, okay, this is not all sugar plums.
Yeah. So what I'm going to be doing, at least moving forward, whenever I start a new game, because I don't want to give everybody everything, I'm going to stream for about an hour. So every time you see a gameplay thing, it's going to be the first hour or so of the game. So this is the first hour of Bug Snacks that's available. There's definitely some dark undertones. It's still rated E for everyone. It's still something where, unless you're like paying attention to all the conversation, it's still okay for your kids to play. Sure. There is some things that as an adult, and maybe if your kid's a little bit more intuitive, they might start to pick up on some things. But otherwise, it's just, hey, go eat snacks and laugh at the fact that it changes everybody's limbs and stuff whenever they do that. So it's not a game that I'm going to, I don't know, like play to like completion in terms of like, I need to play it right now and that's the only thing I'm going to play. It's going to be that thing where it's like, all right, I'm going to jump in for an hour, do the next quest or two, capture some snacks, and kind of slowly work my way through it. It just doesn't have that hold on me.
Sure.
But what really doesn't have that hold on me, and what I'm really sad about, is that the Pathless was not.
Dude, I was so sad. Like, to hear your feedback on this. And I saw some other people who were having similar feelings. So how far have you gotten into it?
Again, about an hour. I played maybe a little bit longer on this one, so it has a really cool movement mechanics. That's why I'm super disappointed. It was like so not cool in that. I mean, it's
Sure.
not cool. It was so cool in that way to move about the game. So like you have this charge meter, and you shoot arrows, and it hits
Hmm.
these things, and you can tell that the game was built for mobile in that regard, because every time you hit it, it recharges your kind of sprint, and you can like slide along the world, and you kind of move about pretty quickly. The thing is, though, is that after you see this guy that's on screen right now, if you're watching the video, like he kind of is like, all right, well, see you later. Go, now you got to go fight these four guys, but it doesn't tell you how to fight the four guys. It doesn't tell you what to do at all. Like it truly is the pathless, because I
Hmm.
had to look it up. I was wandering around, and like it was fun wandering around, but I'm like, what am I supposed to
Yeah.
do?
So when you described that, it immediately reminded me of, because we were just texting each other about it, but like it reminded me of Shadow of the Colossus, the way you were describing it. Which did you play Shadow of the Colossus?
Beat it.
Okay, because like I really like it, but it is very much a game that, well, I mean, it gives you a little bit of text, and it's just like you should, you're going to fight, you're going to find the things, and the game doesn't hold your hand in regards to finding the beast, in regards to how to fight them and all of that. But I feel like it was intuitive enough that you kind of get it. Also,
Yeah.
part of that is that game came out on the PlayStation 2. So we are now 3 generations removed from that. So I feel like 2020, it's hard for a game for that type of mechanic to be there. Like the original Legend of Zelda doesn't tell you like anything, but I feel like that type of game did not. It's like that needs to be kind of left in the past a little bit.
Yeah, but the difference between a Shadow Colossus and a Zelda, and I don't mind that it doesn't tell me what to do, is the fact that with Zelda, you pick up your sword as soon as you go into that cave, and you don't have to, but like it's kind of right there
Sure.
in front of your face. You go in that cave, and then the next thing that you do is you go to the next map, and like eventually you will find another cave to go
Yes.
in, right? Well, in this case, you have to, no spoilers here because there's nothing really to spoil, but you pick up these coins, and you have to unlock these towers, and apparently if you unlock the towers,
Hmm.
somehow that makes it to where eventually you might fight a boss. I don't know how that functions. That's the only part I don't get about it. I just know that you have to unlock the towers. But to me though, what would happen is if they had done it like in a way that made more sense, is you would come out of that starting area, and there would be a tower just right in front of you, kind of thing,
Yeah.
like where it's like, hey, there's a tower, and okay, you gotta, and then there's a coin thing. It's like unlocks the tower, and you see some kind of change. There's no map at all, really, either. Like, there's nothing really to look at and be like, I don't know what I'm doing. So that was disappointing. So I looked it up. I now understand what I'm supposed to do, and it makes sense. But I was kind of just so off put by it that I, me, if I
Yeah.
decide that I'm no longer having fun, I don't play a game anymore. So I might give it another go, but chances are I'm probably done.
That's
So I just
sad.
went and played 4 more
Yeah.
hours of Call of Duty.
Yeah, I mean it's sad, but like that's kind of how it is. Where if I'm not having fun, I have other games, I have other things to do. We're adults. We have
Yeah,
obligations. We have lives, and gaming's fun. Gaming's great. I absolutely love this hobby. We are both enthusiasts more than even hobbyists, but at the same time, I gotta I'm not going to put in like 10, 20 hours on something if I'm just really not liking it.
sure.
I do need to try Call of Duty though, because I keep seeing good things about this. And you are not a Call of Duty guy.
Not
You're
really.
not the average person to play these games. I haven't played a Call of Duty game in probably 5 years. Really, usually I'm not digging multiplayer,
That's
but
all I've been doing.
yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's all you've been doing, and that's not something Usually, it's not something you usually like lean towards because, as we say, neither one of us are at the level where we feel competent enough to to be stomping people in multiplayer. But you're doing all right, apparently, or at least feeling confident enough in what you're doing.
I have a KD of over 1 on most modes. Like it's like right above 1, like 1.0
Yeah,
or 1.1. But my kill death ratio is actually not. I'll take 1 for 1. You obviously want to be like 2 for 1. That way you're
sure.
taking an additional. But I don't care. Like it's a thing
Yeah,
where I haven't had to talk to anybody. You can, as soon as you get put into a lobby, you can click your right stick and it'll mute everybody in the lobby. So
okay,
that way you don't have to listen to anyone. I
good.
understand the mode, and I'm a play the objective kind of guy. So there's a quick match system
Hmm.
where you can take out the modes that you aren't interested in, and it will only queue you for the modes you are interested in. So I queue for like 6 modes, so I get a
Okay,
nice little shuffle,
that's
and
cool.
I just
That's
play the
cool.
objective. And each match is like less than 10 minutes. I jump, and then it instantly puts you in queue for the next match. Like it just this gameplay loop that it
Yeah,
just sticks you in. Like I get it. I finally get it. And it's a weird thing for me to finally get, because I've been around Call of Duty my whole life. It's just
sure.
on this next gen system though, like I'm not there are no like load screens. You're in the lobby and you can edit your loadouts and all that stuff, but like there's no, like as soon as it says like match starting, there's a little timer and then you're in the match. Like there really isn't a whole lot of loading. There's only waiting for players to join.
Yeah,
And I'm on cross platform, so I'm getting the PS4 players, the Xbox One players, the PC players as well, as PS5 and Xbox Series players as well. So like
sure.
everybody's in that same thing. So I have not had to wait. Like as soon as I hit quick match, I'm in a lobby in less
Yeah.
than 20 seconds.
And that's I think that's really important because I love Battlefront 2, right? I mean, Battlefront 2.
I
I
need to
love them
download it
because
on the
it's
next
Star
gen.
Wars. I do, yeah. So does it have an update? I'm sure it
I,
has
don't-
some.
I know it's available. Like I don't know about an
Yeah,
update, but I bet
let's
it.
take a look.
I bet it loads faster. I'm hoping they update it. Like that would be super smart for
I hope
EA to
so.
do,
I
and it
hope
would
so.
look great.
Speaking of updates on PlayStation, apparently we've gotten a little bit more information on the difference and how Xbox versus PlayStation is doing their updates. Because Phil Spencer was saying, well, everything first party is just going to work. Is going to be a free update. You're not going to have to buy multiple versions like you did for Call of Duty because that's not first person. Not first party.
Mm-hmm.
So we've now gotten some information from Psionic, from spokesperson from Psionic, talking about that enabling 120 and enabling all these enhanced features, enabling an enhanced version of a game on Xbox Series X or S. It can be done as a patch, a little minor patch, which isn't too much work. PlayStation's requiring a full-on native port. And depending on your assets, depending on what you're working with on that may take a while. That's more resource intensive. It's not just tasking a handful of people to work on it in a week or two to patch it. You're talking about a full team creating a port of the game to next gen,
Yeah.
which really is bothersome to me because I'm not saying that everything should be forward, everything should be get that kind of update, but games that are coming out this soon, I think that the Xbox model of you get a free upgrade, it's just part of it, and allowing developers to do that easily, I think, is important because people aren't getting PlayStation 5. We're fortunate in this day of thanks, as Thanksgiving is. I'm thankful. I am thankful that we're very fortunate to be able to have gotten a hold of these. There's a lot of people who aren't going to get a hold of them just because of shortages for maybe 6 months, and there's other people who aren't, from a financial standpoint, aren't going to be able to get a hold of them for years. And to be able to keep those people there's those players who bought a game and they can, if there is a next gen version, I feel like it should have been easier. And I feel like this is an oversight from PlayStation. And maybe it's because they weren't concentrating on this. Maybe it's part of the architecture. I don't know, but I will say this is why we are not getting as many updates for games, or they're not free when it comes to next gen PS5.
Before I go to the stock thing, because there's news there as well, but just to your point, it was honestly really surprising to me because, as I understood it originally, PS4 and PS5 were supposed to be on similar architectures, and so you thought that they weren't making that PS3 mistake, and I definitely don't want to hyperbolize that. I don't think they made the PS3 mistake. Like the problem, and people can go back on the history. They had an architecture that was just so hard to work with and so hard to go cross-gen that the third-party support, among other things, among just first-party development, was just really hard on PS3. So it's not the same thing as we're talking about on PS5. But what I think it comes down to is, I think that originally they weren't focused on it. It was several months ago. I don't know if it was Cerny that said it, or if it was Jack that said, we want next gen to be next gen, right? We want that to be the focus. And then they pivoted recently and said, no, we're going to support those things. And I think that was the better decision, but I think that COVID definitely affected that. I don't think that they have nearly as many consoles, even though they did say that they had more PS5s at launch than they did PS4s. And so they just still didn't hit that demand. So there's a COVID problem. I think that there's a COVID development problem. So maybe in the fact that they didn't make it as easy as Xbox did, people patching their games and stuff, that takes work. Like that's something to do. And then I also think that maybe there was probably some shareholder pressure that was like, hey, did you know that you have 120 million PS4s out there? That also just reminded them, like, hey, these third parties are going to be supporting the PS4 for at least 2 years.
Of course. At least no, that I completely agree with that, and we're going to see even more of a gap then, even more of that generational, not gap, sorry, that generational reach, if you will, or stretch, where we're going to see PS4 games or see PS5 games. There are certain games that aren't going to go to those other consoles. Xbox is saying that they're not going to get they're not going to have a series exclusive for, I think they said 18 months after launch. They're still dedicated to Xbox One players. The Xbox Series will get an upgraded version, a better version of the game, and I appreciate that. But at the same time, you do have a loss of a killer app, if you will, if you don't have that game, which, like, for example, for Demon Souls, which is funny because I love Demon Souls, but I've seen people who, in Kind of Funny and other groups, who are posting and they're like, I got this because it's supposed to be the best game on PS5 and I hate it. I'm like, that's not the game for you if you didn't know what you're getting into. Demon Souls and sorry, we were just going over this. Demon Souls, Astros, and there's one more that's exclusive.
Godfall.
Godfall, that's what it was.
And that yawn was perfectly timed, by the way.
It was. I thought you were joking on that, but yeah, it is perfectly timed. I do want to try Godfall at some point. It will probably come to
bargain bin, baby.
It'll go bargain bin. I do want to try it because I've heard the graphics are great and everything.
Yeah.
But both when coming into it, I didn't realize how much was not going to be next gen on PS5. How much was going to be on both generations. Like Miles, Spider-Man is on both. It looks better on PlayStation 5, obviously, but this generation right now, it's like getting a brand new PC. All your games play on it. It's great. It plays faster. It looks better. It plays faster. It loads faster. All of that, but you are playing enhanced versions of your favorite games. It's not bad, but it's definitely. I'm just saying, like, it's like if you were playing on a budget gaming PC from 5 years ago and you got a new decent gaming PC, there's a big leap.
Sure.
So I'm not saying that it's not noticeable. It's noticeable, But I will say, for those who have like an Xbox One X, Trevor in the comments, Trevor is actually the proud winner of my Xbox Series X, by the way.
Nice.
I have that in the other room. That playing games on that versus One X, you can tell there's a difference.
Yeah.
But it's not like mind blowing, gonna drop your controller yet. But it will be.
What's really, and you know what's interesting, and I didn't drop it in here because it's not a huge story, but like they refuse to say that
Mhm.
God of War is a PS5 exclusive. So as soon as they refuse to say that, it's going to PS4 Pro. So it's probably gonna, if you try and play that thing on a PS4, it's probably not going to run at all.
Mm.
But I bet it can run on PS4 Pro just fine, just like Horizon 2.
Yeah.
And I bet that I'm really curious to see at what point do we have an extreme noticeable loss, because Insomniac,
Sure.
to their credit, did a really good job with Miles. They went into some of the technical aspects of it. There's a video out there where they talk about how they got Miles to work while trying to get the best looking game out of it on PS5, because it
Cool.
looks amazing on PS5. But they talked about how they loaded the game and how like there's a significant draw distance left and all this stuff where they kind of space out how it loads. It's stuff that I don't completely understand, but if you're a nerd about that kind of thing, I definitely recommend you seek that video out, because it's really cool that they wanted you to have an next gen experience in how Miles looks and feels, and they achieved it, but they still were tasked with putting it on PS4, and apparently it runs pretty well. But I want to know how well Horizon runs on PS4 Pro. I mean, Horizon 2 rather, on PS4 Pro. I just don't expect it to work very well. And then God of War is a 2022 game. If they say 2021, it's coming out in 2022. I'm sorry.
I'd be shocked if it comes out 2021.
But that's okay, because according to Cerny, all the PS5s have been sold.
So it's going to take a while. Now that, by the way, Cerny saying that, when he says that, I'm sitting there. I feel like I do this a lot. I have to play.
Or not Cerny. That was Jim Ryan. Jim Ryan.
That's right. As soon as I saw that, immediately I translate what I know what he means on that. What he means is Sony has zero stock.
Yeah.
They have sold it to all of the retailers. Now, retailers can have, like Walmart right now. I think you said Walmart's doing
it's already gone.
It's already gone. Yep. That was while we were talking. It was gone.
18 minutes. It was gone in 60 seconds.
Yeah, there you go. But that's so Walmart and other retailers may have stock that they're waiting to stage to make sure people get chances. And I wish that they'd be a little bit more transparent and say, hey, like as soon as one goes out, they're like, hey, we're out. Check back this time. Check back this day. That way people know there is another one, because there's a disappointment where people try to buy it and then they're like, oh, it's gone. And then they find out 3 days later, they hear, oh, Walmart's going to do another one in a week. And you're like,
another one,
roller coaster, and another one. And it's like this roller coaster. And to me, I know Sony's, I'm hats off to Sony on this. And Microsoft has not said anything, but I guarantee they're in a similar situation as my Xbox from Microsoft. Amazon sold too many. Amazon sold more than they were supposed to, and then Microsoft shorted them even on what they were supposed to get. So there was an even bigger gap than they expected. So Microsoft was still dropping off ones to retailers, but I would imagine that Microsoft is in a similar situation where I don't think that they are selling the same amount necessarily, but I think from stock perspective, they're both very hard to come by. Really organically hard to come by. This is not a fake shortage. And retailers are stretching it out because they didn't want to sell them all. They could have sold them all launch day.
Yeah,
every single one of them.
And those bots would have got you.
The bots would have got you, and you would not have another chance until January, maybe.
Unless you want to pay an exorbitant amount of money.
Yeah, so I'm seeing some crazy ones being scalped.
And then along with that, since you mentioned it, Xbox Series right now, they're saying expect shortages until at least April.
Yeah.
So I think that there's a demand issue. There's going to be people. I really would love both of the companies to release numbers. They both didn't.
Mm-hmm.
Xbox said they had the biggest launch day of the brand. Good for them. PS5 said that they put more consoles out on launch day than PS4, and they're all sold. Good for them. But
Yep.
I wish somebody would talk about numbers. Phil, I don't think is ever going to talk about numbers ever again until he makes back all that money that he spent on ZeniMax. I don't expect numbers, and that's fine. He's there's an article out there where he talks about how he thinks the console wars and stuff is toxic and everything, and I think that that's fine for him to say that, but he works for a business, and I think that there's something to recognize there. So we're not going to know, but so don't let anybody tell you like PS5's outselling Xbox. We don't really know that for a fact. We can guess, but we know that they're both gone.
Yes, and I want to know because I don't want to know who won. I don't and I will say Phil Spencer this week, and I think you put it in the news, but I can't remember. No, you didn't. Sorry, Phil Spencer was talking at an interview this week saying that he thinks that the tribalism, the console tribalism,
that's what I was talking about.
Yeah, and like so, I agree, and I want to know the numbers. I don't care who's winning. Like it's interesting. I'm fascinated. I'm not using that as a torch to carry for my beautiful PlayStation 5 sitting here. While the PlayStation 5 is sitting here because I was playing Demon's Souls on it and streaming, the Xbox Series X is in there. And actually, side note, Whitney's loving Assassin's Creed so much, and we did get a TV in the bedroom, and she hinted / asked about moving the Xbox One X over there into the bedroom. And I'm like, you know what? We can make that happen.
Does Xbox have cloud saves?
It has cloud saves. So
sweet.
So I'm going to show
Can you see if the series? This is another test for you. Can you see if the series save will transfer to One X?
So I know that the One X transfers to Series.
Yeah.
So I assume it works in the reverse. She started playing Valhalla on the One X. We got our new Series X. Shout out to Robert on that. Got the Series X, popped in the disc, it installed, it downloaded the cloud save. She was done.
Sweet.
So I'm hoping that it will be that smooth, and I'm going to test it out and make sure it's easy for her to do. But that being said, like that's what I'm saying. I may have the PlayStation. I might love me some PlayStation, but I'm playing Xbox as well. They're both great consoles for different reasons, for similar reasons and different reasons. And with that, talking about Phil Spencer, he did talk about XCloud possibly coming to TVs. Who, man, are you Nostradamus over here? Because it's not that it never been talked about, but Owen called this 10 months ago.
Yeah, baby.
Saying it's going to be a dongle or it's going to be an app, and I will go further than this to say Xbox and Microsoft have a very close relationship with a specific manufacturer of hardware. And I don't know if you've noticed this, but Samsung happens to is getting XCloud stuff early. They're getting a lot of stuff early when it comes to Microsoft releases. I would not be surprised if Samsung were the first to get this, and not necessarily a timed exclusive, but maybe a timed exclusive, to say, hey, all this series of new Samsung TVs are going to have the app installed, ready to go. Maybe they'll sell a dongle for other stuff, because you do need to have a CPU. You need to have an advanced enough smart TV to handle this. But I think the technology is there to the point where, similar to Stadia, where it's not going to require as much CPU, GPU as we traditionally think of. It's more about being able to have enough CPU to work on latency, or maybe the controller doesn't go through the TV. Maybe the controller does go through the Wi-Fi, similar to Stadia. So
the other thing is going to be is whether your TV has built-in Bluetooth or not, because you still need to have controller support. That's how you're going to do it. And so Samsung, though, has made that a standard feature. If to go along with what Patrick is saying, Samsung TVs now include Bluetooth as a regular thing, and I don't think that is ubiquitous, the word I'm looking for, with other brands.
I think it is. Yes,
Uh,
I agree.
I don't know
Because
if my TCL, for example, has it or not.
yeah, and I would agree because for the most part, when you think of what you need on TV for 2020, HDMI, I would say now HDMI 2.1 should be a standard moving forward on any mid range and up TVs. The cheaper ones can have smaller. That's fine.
Yeah.
But HDR 2.1 and optical and HDMI, and even then, you don't need optical on every one of them. It's a nice thing to have. But Bluetooth, thinking about how many people use Bluetooth off of their TV. I don't, but
I mean, I think it's becoming more of a thing as people start looking at Bluetooth speakers.
sure.
I think that's a thing now. I don't know how much of a thing it is because I'm just not in that audio file, whatever. And I
Yeah,
know that it's not the best connection. A true audio file is going to go hardwire. And so, but I still think that it's a thing that's happening. I think you're going to see it more and more because honestly, it's prettier. Like, the less
it's so
cords
pretty.
the less cords that you can have, the better. And so I just looked it up. My TV does not have it, but the brand does. It's just my series. So mine's from
Sure.
2017. It doesn't have Bluetooth in it. So what are they going to need? They're going to need a dongle.
They need a dongle, and that's whatever they're going to call it, the XCloud or whatever they're going to call it. They're going to need a dongle, which is what you said about 10 months ago, and you said, what if Series S is a dongle, or maybe not Series S, but something else that they're working on?
Yeah.
And Phil's talked about this a few times. He's danced around it, but he's basically saying we don't need to be there where consoles are. I love my console. I love my PC. But we are the generation who's used to consoles, and the younger generation doesn't necessarily gravitate towards consoles unless there's a specific reason, an app, a game that's exclusive, or they, I don't know, maybe there's something unique. But I see a lot of kids, and I do mean kids, playing on Facebook and Twitch, and I literally mean kids, 8-year-olds and 9-year-olds who are streamers.
Yeah.
And I have no problem with it. But what are they streaming on? They're streaming on their parents' setup, but they may or may not be choosing that based on they're choosing things based on what their parents are asking. But as soon as you give them freedom, do they want to have to buy a new console all the time, or do they just want to have a controller and play off their whatever screen they're on? They're not going to want to be tied to hardware. If I could get the same quality, I would not be tied to hardware. And I think he basically is saying the amount of people who are gamers who play on cell phones, who play in other methods that are not console, it's not necessarily the console generation shrinking, but it's aging. And if you need to get the younger people, you need to catch them with things like Game Pass and put it on PCs, put it everywhere. And if you can put it on TVs, then you have it in every living room, or not necessarily every living room, but you have it in all these living rooms, similar to Apple TV, right? Apple TV and gaming on that. You have a player base just built in. And it's smart. It's really smart. Microsoft knows they're going to get a little bit of money out of a ton of people instead of a lot of money out of a few people.
And they're going to do that on Apple products as well because browsers coming soon. So they, again, I can't speak too much on this topic in terms of my opinion, but I can stick to the facts that XCloud is not available on iOS for reasons that Apple says. So as a result, what Microsoft's been doing is they have been working XCloud to work through the mobile app Safari and probably other mobile browsers as well, but Safari, because it is the primary use on iOS, I think is their focus. And it's coming soon, according to Phil, which to me, this is super dope. And he even said that while he doesn't necessarily agree, he understands. And that's, I think, one of the first admissions I've ever heard from like a thing saying like, hey, I get it. I get why we're not there. So what we did is we figured out, and that's what I keep loving about what Microsoft is doing. You
Yeah.
know, they ran into a problem with Xbox One where they lacked killer apps, but they still had a lot of third party support from the past. They had a lot of people who wanted backwards compatibility of the thing, and they want their library to mean something moving forward. And they said, well, we can't do that. Let's figure it out. And they put backwards compatibility into Xbox One and now into Xbox Series. I have a 360 game sitting on my Series X right now, Final Fantasy 13, ready to play. Okay, our
Yeah.
app's not available on iPhone. Let's figure it out, and let's make it to where you can go through your web browser. You're going to go log into XCloud. The While it doesn't have the app, iPhones do currently have Xbox One controller support. I don't think they currently have Series controller yet. I think that they're working on that. But they do have Xbox One controller, and your Xbox One controller works on your Series. So no matter what, it's a win-win. Xbox continues to say, you know what, you want this? We'll figure it out for you,
Yeah.
buds. No
Yeah.
problem. We got
Well, I
you.
mean, yeah, and I mentioned on the show, listeners, loyal listeners of the show, and we love you guys. Loyal listeners of the show know I was trying to get Knights of the Old Republic to work on my PC and having trouble, and I walked into the living room and realized I have it on digitally. I have it in my library digitally on Xbox, and I downloaded it and played it on my Xbox One X. So that type of backwards compatibility is amazing to have this huge library of used games, digital games, whatever it is. Yeah, Microsoft is paving the way in that, and I don't think Sony's going to hurt, but I definitely think they're ahead of the curve when it comes to this.
And I didn't include that story either because they didn't really. I'm waiting for them to drop more details on it. But to Sony's credit, they did say that they're working on a quote unquote answer to Game Pass. And so they understand that they need customers to value what they're doing, and we do value PlayStations for different reasons.
Mhm.
They Again, like, I can't play Miles Morales on Xbox. You can't
Nope.
do it, and I that was a game that I had to play,
Yes.
and it was fantastic. So I value Sony for different reasons, but we've been saying it for several months now. Like, Game Pass is just dope, and it's gonna get even better. And Sony needs to answer that. Apparently, they're
Yep.
working on it, but I still think that, like, I think Xbox should just have a new slogan, like either like "we got you" or like "we'll take care of it" or "we'll figure it out." Like,
I
because they
think
just
we
keep
got you.
figuring it out.
Yeah, we got you. I think is good. It works generationally. Um, that's not. Not to say you need to appeal to kids, but like that's that's like, oh, you need that, we got you, like, not a problem. Which I feel like that's the
Got you,
ultimate.
boo.
Yeah. However you want to. I feel like it's not as like trying to appeal. Like, immediately I'm thinking of what's his name, Steve Buscemi in what movie was that, when he's trying to be a teenager. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh, how do you do, fellow kids?
Yeah, exactly. Like, immediately I think, like, if you do that from a marketing perspective and say something like "we got you, boo" or "I got you, fam," like I feel like
It's
they
on
make it all
30
being
Rock.
organic. That's what it was. Yeah. Immediately I'm thinking, like, if you go too far into that and you're like you're placating, you are catering to a demographic, and you shouldn't. Like, you need to go to everyone. And I just had a light go out. That was fun, but that's okay.
It's not your
I
GPA.
I thought I had a stroke for a second. I'm like, what's happening? Because all of a sudden everything went dark, and I was like, I'm not smelling toast. It's not the GPU, so I'm okay. But yeah, I'm happy. This has been a good week. Honestly, I'm loving my hardware, and I will say, as we wrap up, because I know we want to talk real quickly about real kind of briefly. The second firmware update came out on PS5, fixing some game install DualSense charging issues. Did you have any issues since you've gotten your PlayStation 5? Anything where you're
There's been some weird sound things every once in a
okay?
while, where like somebody would be talking and I play in the room next to my son's bedroom because that's where the living room is. It's not a big
Sure.
house,
Yeah.
and so it's on my primary television and everything, and so I have to play with subtitles. Like it's like I have to, and I got used to it while we were pregnant, with Netflix and everything, and now literally subtitles are always on everything, Netflix and all that stuff. And I saw a line pop up on the TV, and I'm like, but he didn't say anything. And then I saw another line pop up, and I'm like, what the heck's going on? I restart the game, it works again fine. So that was a weird quirk. And then some games have just crashed, and
Yeah.
that I've had games crash on both consoles.
I have had that as well. That was the other thing I was gonna, as like I said, we're wrapping up the end of the show, but the other bit on the Xbox side was quick resume has not been working great for everyone or certain games. And in fact, you mentioned that early on. I tested mine. The only one that I'm having trouble with is Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Yeah.
But I toggled between 4 other games.
Okay.
Specifically, I just started loading up games. As soon as I would allow the game to load, I would get into I'd allow the game to launch. I would load up my save file so that I'm actually playing the game. I feel like that's a better test. And then I would hit the home button, launch another game, and I was able to toggle between like 3 or 4 games easily, but Assassin's Creed wouldn't do it. And I think that there's still something that's not quite right in regards to it. I don't know if this is specific to specific games, because Assassin's Creed is noted here as one of the games that's they say was among the games supported the feature without issue. I has issue,
Yeah.
and so I don't know. Maybe I'm in the minority.
Well, what's annoying is that the problem is that all the games that I've played on series so far like they don't require it, but there is an online connectivity component, including Gears 5. Even though I'm not playing
Yes. Yep.
online, it connects me, which I hate.
Yep.
I don't like single player games that put you online, and I get why they're doing it. They're doing it so your friends can jump in there with you, because on Gears 5 you can have like a 3 or 4
Sure.
person party, and at
Mhm.
any time, if you want to, like if you see me playing Gears 5, you would literally be able to jump into my game if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I hate that though. There's no turning it off, and so every time that I quick resume Gears 5, it boots me back to the screen. With Call of Duty, I haven't been playing the campaign. I'm in the lobby, and I get why that's not working properly, but it
Yeah.
doesn't stick me back in the lobby. It again reboots the whole Call of Duty screen, and I have to go back into multiplayer. It's not the biggest annoyance in the world. It's something that I'm used to just from
Yeah.
playing games. So if you're playing an online component game, they they haven't figured out a way to bypass that. I think they're going to have to do something where like something that's persistent internet connectivity, like they just
Or
shut it off or something in the main menu, or shut it off in single player, or I don't know
sure.
what to
Or
do there.
yeah, I mean, I think this is again the word of the day, ubiquitous. This is ubiquitous enough in regards to quick resume that I think that it should be something that's baked into if you suspend a game and you go into something else. In my opinion, it should be as simple as the game suspends it and turns off the online component at that same time, and then loads what it needs to load in the background in order to have it ready to play. If it needs to turn off the network connection and then reload some parts of the save file, that or some parts of the session, that needs to happen while it's in suspense. That way you come back and you're on offline. Give me a little text that says, "Hey, you're because of your connection was lost." That's all you need. Connection was lost. That's fine. I'm playing single player. I have the same thing happen, by the way, with my Switch playing Dark Souls.
Yeah.
Dark Souls, if you hit the sleep button on the Switch, you hit the power button, so it goes to sleep and you go do something else, you come pick it up, launch Dark Souls, and it says, hey, you lost network connectivity. Close the game, reloads your file, and that's annoying. That's annoying. It's 2020, especially if your feature is quick resume, then network connectivity needs to be a part of that to say disable the network, bring it into offline mode. So,
Yeah, and what the thing is also they just need to. They also don't tell you what's suspended right now. That
Yes.
needs to be there. Needs even if it's just something like a little icon, right? Like that just says like QR or something.
Yeah.
I don't know what they do,
Well,
but they need to they need to have a list showing you like, hey, this game's open, this game's open, this game's open, like this game's not open, like just something that tells you. Because the other problem here is that there's some people that they don't know when their game's going to close. Like they're just testing it out because they can,
sure.
they load up as many
Sure.
games or whatever, but they don't know when a game's going to get dropped from the quick
Yeah.
resume. They don't know when it's
Yeah.
going to reload. And while they do tell you this, so don't yell at them. They do tell you like you need to save your game before you stop playing for those games that are archaic and don't save. But like if you're in the middle of like a chapter
Yeah.
or something like that, often you maybe haven't hit a save point in a few minutes.
What was it? Persona. One of the Persona games someone was talking about in one of the. Actually, I think it still was kind of the kind of funny group.
Mm-hmm.
Someone was saying that they were playing Persona on PS5. I can't remember which Persona game it was, but it was some.
Persona 5.
I guess it may have been Persona 5, but they were like grinding out a bunch of stuff, and they hadn't. The game didn't autosave, and he had been grinding for like 3 hours,
Yeah.
and then so the PlayStation did an update which closed out his suspended game, his game that was in sleep, whatever you want to call it from the Sony perspective.
Turn off automatic updates.
Turn off automatic update. That's exactly what we're saying. They're like, dude, you kind of screwed yourself over in that. And I'll say, like, the games that I'm playing, I know that they've auto-saved,
Yeah.
and then I put it into sleep. So and the reason I do that is if we have a little power blip, right? Sometimes you have a little blip that happens.
Little.
And then you have that little blip that happens, and you're like, oh crap. So now next time I turn on my PlayStation, it's going to take a bit to load up. It's going to rebuild its database and all that, which PS5 has had. I had that happen at a power outage, rebuilt everything, and I think it was completely right back up in I think a minute and a half or 2 minutes. It was, in my opinion, very quick in regards to from the point where I turned it on cold, had to launch, reboot, rebuild its files, rebuild the database, relaunch itself, and then I was playing. Which a minute and a half in PS4 terms, I think that's halfway to loading Red Dead Redemption, something like that.
Yeah. and so, I know that they're going to fix it. And so this isn't a knock, is a thing of, we know it's coming. It's just, when that's the feature that you want. Like I've had even some people like try and criticize me for criticizing. It's like, how many games do you really play? And it's like, hey, look here, sir. Like, what if I'm playing a roguelite like Dead Cells? I downloaded that on there. That's not a game that you just play all the time. Like Dead Cells to me is a game that you jump in and out of. What if I'm playing some Call of Duty? And I understand, again, the network connectivity is going to reset. But, I'm playing some Call of Duty. Like that's a multiplayer thing. I'm just going to jump in. That's not a thing that I'm going to continuously play all the time. I'm going to switch off. In the next game, I'm going to probably play as like Yakuza or something else. Sure. Like I want what they told me I'm going to get. And I know that they're going to do it. This isn't a thing. Like this is just like how PS5s had some things like it's a feature that they're working on. But it's still worth mentioning. It's a thing like, hey, you're not the only one. If it's happened to you, just know that they're probably going to fix it. They haven't talked about it really yet. We don't know where they're at with firmware updates. And that's at least the difference. I've had 2 firmware updates on the PS5. And if the Xbox has done one, they haven't told us about it. That's one thing that I do like about the PS5 in that instance, where there's just a little pop-up that's like, hey, we updated your PS5.
Sure. Yeah. And I will say I have mine set up to do the automatic updates. Like,
you have to.
I have mine set up that way, but at the same time, like you were saying, like I'm gonna be cognizant enough to do it. But no, I agree with the resume, quick resume, especially how heavily they touted that as a huge feature. And I'll say this generation, both of them, SSD CPUs, that has been the big thing for me in load times. But quick resume for Xbox is next level. To be able to toggle between, like, the wife's playing Assassin's Creed Valhalla, she's gonna put the console in, say turn off console, it'll go into sleep mode, right? I may wake up and I may play some Remnant or a few other games in the morning, and then when she wakes up, that's fine. She can play Valhalla. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it suspends. Either way, her game is saved. But like the idea is, if I can toggle between those, you have multiple people in a household, you have multiple games. It's win-win. So, anyways, I hope you enjoyed this week of the Land Cave. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you're enjoying a new console. If you did get one, if not, living vicariously through us. Ask us questions, by the way, what we think. If there's something specific you want to know, living vicariously through us as we're living as nerds. How do you feel, like, what do you want to know about the new console? Do you want to know which controller is better? Is it the DualSense or the Xbox Series X? I mean, there's an answer to it. But let us know if there's something you want to know about the new consoles. And
Do you want to know how it smells?
yeah. Hope you have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe. We'll see you next time.